विज्ञान की अनकही कहानियाँ। आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनसुनी कहानियाँ।
Hello listeners, you're listening to Vigyan Ki Awaaz podcast program on STEM popularization, catalyzed and supported by the Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India and Media for Community Foundation. Project devised and designed by Dr. R. Sridhar and assisted by Ashish Tiwari. Local coordination and production, Professor Subramanian. Content writing by Priyanshu and post-production by Professor Kaushik P. Kanchan of Garden City University, Bengaluru.
Garden City University, conquer we shall all adversity. Together we stand in unity. Together we strive for prosperity. GCU, emphasis on life. GCU, emphasis on life.
In today's episode, we have Professor Padmanaban, a renowned scientist specializing in molecular biology and gene expression. He began his journey at the Indian Institute of Science, where he pursued his PhD. His research focuses on how DNA translates into mRNA and protein, with a particular emphasis on cytochrome P450, a key enzyme in drug metabolism and hydroxylation. Professor Padmanaban started off by speaking about the current malarial research in India and the transgenic research in India.
So I joined IISc as a student for my PhD degree and been interested in gene expression. How genes are expressed. DNA will give rise to mRNA, mRNA will give rise to protein. And I had some system. I worked on a protein called cytochrome P450. It is a class of proteins which are involved in hydroxylation. That means, whether it is a steroid hydroxylation, drug hydroxylation, drug metabolism essentially requires cytochrome P450. So I worked on this class of proteins for quite some time. Then at some point of time, I got all these awards and things like that. So, fellow of the academy, I became a Bhatnagar awardee. Then this company called from Sweden, Astra Research, they came to Bangalore. For some reason, they contacted me, asked them to help them to set up Astra Research in Bangalore. And they wanted it to close to IISc. So in fact, I got a place next, there's a lake close by, and so we had quite a bit of activity there. And then they built their own Yelahanka. Astra had their own building and then went there actually. And I started 4 programs for them. Tuberculosis, malaria, cysticercosis, and one more. Then it struck me why I should not myself work on malaria. That's how I shifted from very basic research to malaria research. And that has been going on for maybe 30 years or 40 years. Malaria research, diagnosis, how to diagnose malaria. And I had an animal system. In the mouse system, you can produce malaria. And then I used that and to answer all basic questions like that. And that interest, so I had students working on malaria, and that still continues. So, of course, my I'm 87. So therefore, the lab has shifted to Bhubaneswar. My students work, there's a group at Bhubaneswar, Institute of Life Sciences. It's the Department of Biotechnology Institute. And they are working on continuing to work on malaria research. And every Friday we have a call. They will call me on every Friday, 3 to whatever it is, 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And all malaria research components, what they should be doing, how they should be going, because Orissa is an issue, tribal, and they have malaria problem. So that's why there's a lot of interest, the government has a lot of interest there. Therefore, the group is very strong there and they continue to work. And as I said, every Friday, we have whatever call it is called, and we discuss that. So other days, as I said, I come on Monday, Wednesday and Friday to IISc. And people like you or some locally in the campus, in this department will come, talk to me, we discuss it.
He then shared his insights on whether a malaria-free India is achievable and the challenges in reaching that goal.
The two are different. Malaria research, there is a National Institute for Malaria Research in Delhi. So they have branches all over India. And they do, but their research is more applied oriented, disease oriented. We are trying to answer fundamental questions about the parasite. How does the parasite survive? How does the parasite live? So those are questions we do. But anyway, malaria research is, especially states like Orissa, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, they all still have malaria problem. That is, one of the goals actually. But I don't think you can, before 2050, I don't see any possibility of a malaria-free India.
Professor Padmanaban then discussed the importance of transgenic plants in India's agricultural future, especially with decreasing land availability.
I agree with you, without the transgenic, because the whole concept of increased productivity, not land availability will become less and less and less. And therefore production must be more. Now how do you make it? If plants have to produce more, it has to be, you have to add some genes. Depends on, whether it is the resistance to a virus, resistance to a pest, all possibilities are there. And therefore I think transgenic plants will become very, very important for India if land is not available anymore for agriculture. Less and less land is, that means you have to increase production. And that is possible only through these kind of methods, by introducing new genes and see whether you can increase productivity.
Professor then reflected on his journey, mentioning that he never imagined becoming a director during his school or college days.
Never. I never thought I will. IISc, I was not sure whether I will get into IISc at that point of time. I didn't know about IISc. Okay. I studied in Delhi for a master's, so I came to Bangalore. Came to Bangalore for something else actually. And then when I came here, there was a project. And I was selected for the project.
So you are an accidental researcher?
To start with, for PhD at least.
Okay.
And a place like IISc, I was thinking of staying in Delhi and continuing I did want to do PhD all right. But not in Bangalore, not in IISc.
Okay.
So this is a chance, once I came and I was selected, then I joined here. Then, registered for PhD degree. So then after PhD, 3 years I stayed here. Everybody went abroad. I didn't go. I said, no, I have to do in India everything, some peculiar notions at that point of time. So, but without going abroad, they offered me assistant professor, and probably I was the first to have been offered such a position, because without US training, they will not appoint anybody.
Yeah, that's unfortunate culture.
That culture. But it has all changed now, So, but I was appointed, and then I went abroad. I had a contact in University of Chicago. I went there 10 times. Every time I go, I will learn something, come back,
Use it
and
for
then propagate it, and then see. I will run a workshop. I will invite people, and they all become leaders. They are all directors, etc. Everybody is.
Professor Padmanaban shared how his entry into research was somewhat accidental, leading him into lifelong career in science.
I know. I liked it. I like to teach. I like to interact. So that happened, and that's how I became to be known in the country. So I helped as many people as possible, and many of them are directors because of ICGB, many of the big centers in India. They all were all trained here to some extent, some of them at least.
He recalled receiving various awards and spoke about the one that particularly excited him.
I can't really say I was excited. But I was excited, I remember, because I was very young when I got Bhatnagar Award.
Okay.
CSIR Bhatnagar Award.
Okay.
So I was very excited, because I didn't know that I will be selected.
Okay.
So that came as a surprise. So I was excited. I was around 40 plus, something like that. So I was very excited. Other than that, awards, just come and go. You're right.
He gave valuable advice to young researchers on how to become successful scientists.
No, but it is okay to have equipment alone cannot drive somebody's research. You should always have thinking process,
Critical thinking.
Yes, because sometimes I feel NMR, IR, people use gadgets, and that seems to drive research. Many times you don't need many of these, research should be driven by your thinking process. Many times, the theoreticians are there. What equipment they use? Give them a laptop and a computer, they also do research. Therefore, I feel original research is very important. In India in particular, because most research gets done abroad. Even now I find people go abroad, get their experiments done and come back. But we should have systems here in place.
You were listening to Vigyan Ki Awaaz, a podcast on STEM popularization, catalyzed and supported by National Council for Science and Technology Communication, Government of India. Tune in for more such episodes to Vigyan Ki Awaaz on this platform and also through Spotify, YouTube and Apple Music platforms.
आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनकही कहानियां।